Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today we're doing something quite different. I'm taking you along as I harmonize this Silent Night melody, and you can do this in real time. So while you're busy practicing in church the morning before the service, it's possible actually just to improvise a harmony line. You don't have to go before the service and sit and write everything out. Even when you're just starting out playing in a group or a band on your melody instruments, you can learn to harmonize in real time. This is called a second voice or a harmony or an alto. Okay, so here we have Silent Night. I'm using the program Muse Score, which is free notation software. So let's discuss, how do you work out the harmony line yourself? So two things that really help very much is if you have the notes before you, so you can see them, and you have the chord symbols. So without chord symbols, you're going to have a hard time harmonizing anything. So it's very important to have some chords on hand. If you do not have chords on hand, you can watch the guitarist's hands, but that's a very difficult skill. I have another video all about that. So basically the aim is to work out a nice line underneath the main melody line. So not above. If you're harmonizing above the melody line, that's called a descant. And it's a bit more tricky because sometimes it can start sounding like the melody because your ear hears the highest note. So if something is higher than that, that might start sounding like the melody. So for now, we're just harmonizing underneath the main melody line. You want to invent an alto line or a harmony line. So for that, it's very important to be able to visualize the chord. So I'm going to draw the basic chords which you can use. So I'm going to use grey to show the options. So G major contains which notes? G, B and D. Okay, those are the basic notes for G major. If you didn't know, then G continues over here. G, B, D. D major contains which notes? D, F sharp, A. G major, again G, B and D. C major, C, E and G. So now you're in church 1 hour before the service and you're going through the music. And you basically have these options, these 3 notes with which to harmonize the melody line in each bar. So you're basically doing a mental analysis of each coming bar. If you're playing here, then you're looking out for the next chord, which is D, and saying, okay, we have an A in the melody. So which other chord notes do we have left which we can use to harmonize that A? Another secret to being able to harmonize in real time on the fly while you're practicing is to be able to invert a chord in your mind. So this is root position. The chords are neatly stacked on top of each other. Very simple. Exactly as you would play a chord on the piano without thinking. G, B, D. That's a basic chord. If you want to put it in inversion, you take this bottom note and you put it an octave higher. So that's first inversion. In second inversion, we move that B up as well. Second inversion. So if you're familiar with each inversion of a chord, then it's going to make your life much easier. For example, if we're starting out here, the obvious choice is to play a B as the harmony note because it's a third. Thirds always sound good, or most of the time. Parallel thirds or consecutive thirds. But you can't continue with that third for the entire bar because here the melody line has the B, so you need to switch to a G or a D. So if you're able to see these kinds of inversions in your mind as you're playing along, you'll be able to choose much more effectively. Okay, we're going to go to MIDI sounds now to hear what this actually sounds like in real life. Okay, so I think as a start, I'm just going to harmonize this melody using dotted minims. So I'm not going to worry about these little in-between notes. I'm just going to get a note on each half of a bar. Okay, so first note, I'm going to make a G. And that makes it easy for the second half. Second bar, I might vary that a bit. Make that a B because it also belongs to G major chord. And then G. Now we get to D major with an A in the melody. So I'm going to do an F sharp. Nice and high. And then switch to a D, which goes nicely underneath the soprano. Okay, and then I think I should continue with a D and then a B, both of which belong to G major. And now C, very obvious, and E. Let's have a listen. Okay, it's as simple as that. You have a basic harmony line. It's already sounding much more interesting than just simply melody. Alright, now I'm going to take you a step further by adding passing notes. Okay, so I did a whole video about passing notes. Be sure to check that out as well. But basically I want to make things a bit more interesting here from the third bar. So I'm happy with 1 and 2. Okay, here I'm going to put a passing note between the F sharp and the D. And what's the middle note between those two? It's an E. So I'm taking away the dot, converting this to an E. Let's listen to this. Very nice. Okay, so we have a nice passing line. And I want to continue with it. I want to make this a minim as well. Take away the dot. Put a C in there as a passing note, and then I don't want it to lead nowhere, so I'm going to make that a B instead of a D. There we go, B. I liked the little motion on the 6th beat of the bar over there, so I'm going to do the same here. Change that to a minim. Use the last crotchet to bounce around a little onto a chord note, which I think G would sound good. Okay, and then this C sounds excellent, but I want this E to move down to the C, so I'm going to use the same rhythm as the melody line. Dotted crotchet, which is an E, and then a passing note, which is D, and then C, which is back to a chord note. Yes, that sounds good. Okay, for clarity, let me just quickly mark all the chord notes, all the notes which are logical because they fit into the main chords. So G is a chord note, B, F sharp does fit into D, D fits, B fits into G, B and G both fit, C fits, E fits, and C fits. I'm going to make them all blue. Because they are chord notes, they are logical, they belong to the chord. But we do also have passing notes, which do not belong to the chords in which they occur. So as you can see, technically you would never even think of harmonizing D major with an E, but because it passes between two chord notes, it sounds good. So technically you should be able to do this on the fly while you're practicing in church, 8 o'clock, before the 9 o'clock service. You should be able to play, and while you're busy, analyze the upcoming chord, choose your harmony notes based on the chord, and have a very pleasing sound in the end. It will take a lot of practice, so 2 tips which I'll leave you with is practice visualizing your chord. So if you are not familiar with writing out chords or making those into inversions, then please do a little bit of theory. Go to my arpeggio video, look at the common arpeggios, practice putting them in inversion. So you write down the basic chord, G major, and then you write down first inversion, second inversion, and then you practice a bit. It'll help you, it'll put that in the muscle memory and make it easily accessible while you're improvising in church. Second tip is to practice it so much that your fingers know the way. So on viola, I know exactly how the G major arpeggio feels. And I also know exactly how the inversion feels, starting with a D in the bass. So sometimes I don't even have to think about it, because I know, okay, I'm still in G major, I'm just going to switch around the chord notes. Now I'm starting from the D, now I'm starting from the B. So get used to the chord shapes. And please let us know down below if you have another strategy which I didn't mention, which helps you to harmonize in real time in church. Check out this playlist as well. Okay, I hope you have a great day. See you next time.